Hey guys, Coaster Director coming at you with the park battle between Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia, and Six Flags Over Texas. Before we begin, I just hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday you celebrate. If you don't celebrate a holiday, happy season, whatever. But let's get started. First up, the classic loopers. We got Loch Ness Monster versus Shockwave. Loch Ness Monster is one of the best arrow loopers out there, and Shockwave is a fantastic Schwarzkopf looper. I love all the Schwarzkopf coasters I've been on. And overall Shockwave is still getting into the top 15s overall in coaster rankings. So I will be giving the 2 points to Shockwave. Next up are the inverted coasters. We got Alpengeist versus Batman the Ride. Batman the Ride, a roller coaster with around 11 clones. Yeah, obviously, nothing special about it. However, still a great ride, as usual. Tons of forces, but Alpengeist, being a nearly hyper inverted coaster, it's insane. It's like 195 feet tall. And the worst part about it is probably the Cobra Roll, which is a little bit headbangy. However, the rest of the ride is fantastic. It may have a B&M rattle, but it's still pretty great. Next up are the premier launch coasters. We got Tempesto versus Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. Tempesto is pretty much becoming a clone at this point, where it's already been a clone of Superman Ultimate Flight at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. However, Mr. Freeze does have a clone, which is at Six Flags St. Louis. I've ridden that one. Both of these are fantastic coasters. However, I would just have to say that Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast is slightly better, so I will be giving the 2 points to Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. Next up are the Kiddy Coasters. These are pretty simple and will only be gaining a half point to whoever wins. But Mini Mine Train has a lot more theming and is a decent bit longer and just a little bit more of a larger, more, how do I say it, interesting coaster overall. So I will be giving the half point to Mini Mine Train. Next up are the family coasters. We got Verbolten versus Runaway Mine Train. This one is a complete knockout. Verbolten is an excellent coaster, excellent replacement for Big Bad Wolf in the family department. Mini Mine Train, or Runaway Mine Train, was the original Mine Train coaster by Aerodynamics, and it was the first Mine Train by them in the mid 60s, late 60s. But Verbolten is Busch Gardens' second newest coaster. And it is very fun. Awesome drop towards the end. Amazing launches. It's just an overall relatively thrilling family coaster. Next up are the hypercoasters. We got Apollo's Chariot versus Titan. Titan is a Guy Vanola hypercoaster from 2000, and Apollo's Chariot is a B&M hypercoaster. It was the first B&M hypercoaster in 1999. Anyways, both of these are actually really good coasters, with Titan going more towards the positive G's, especially with its helices, with Apollo's Chariot being more focused on the negative G's. And overall, Apollo's Chariot is just more considered a better coaster, and it's a fantastic coaster overall. So I will be giving the 3 points to Apollo's Chariot. Busch Gardens has one extra coaster, that being Griffin, the dive coaster, which is currently the second tallest dive coaster in the world, will be the third tallest dive coaster in the world once Valravn is opened in April, I believe. And it's a pretty good coaster, so I will be giving it 3 points. Over Texas has 6 coasters, and this is where they dominate. They have La Vibora, they have Pandemonium, they have the new Texas Giant, which will be getting them 3 points. They have Judge Roy Scream, Runaway Mountain, and Wile E. Coyote Canyon Blaster. The main obvious one of this is New Texas Giant, a fantastic RMC coaster, which will be getting the 3. The rest will be getting 1 point. Next up, we have the drop towers. We have Mach Tower and Superman Tower of Power. We have a Moser drop tower versus a SNS drop tower. Overall, both of these aren't the best drop towers when it compares to like Intamin, but Superman Tower of Power is about 100 feet taller, and has 3 towers, one being launched, or 2 being launched, and 1 being a standard drop. So overall, the drop tower that wins is Superman Tower of Power. Next up, we have the Busch Gardens Thrill and Dark rides. They have Escape from Dark Castle, a pretty awesome dark ride that's a lot like Amazing Spider-Man. It has a lot of the same systems. And then we have Escape from Pompeii, which is a water dark ride combo thrill ride mix, which is pretty good as well. Next up, for Over Texas, we have their thrill and dark rides. They have Texas Skyscreamer, and then they have Justice League Battle for Metropolis, a fantastic dark ride as well. So both parks will be getting 2 points. Next up, we have the family rides. Family rides at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. There's 27, and Over Texas has 8 more at 35. So obviously, Over Texas will be getting the 8 point, or not 8 points, the 2 points. I mean. Next up are the prices. This is based on the season pass because both parks are currently closed. I will not be trying to do some weird thing calculating ticket prices, but first up, season pass, $132 for Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and the season pass for Six Flags, Six Flags Over Texas, is currently $63 as of the time of this video. So obviously less than half of the price for a season pass, and I believe that is for the gold season pass as well. So much better deal with Six Flags. Park appearance. This is where Busch Gardens Williamsburg really shines. It is one of the best looking parks out there. It is a gorgeous park with tons of animals and nice scenery and a lot of facades and buildings, and it's just a great looking park. So 2 points will be going to them. Next up, we have the operations. This is a pretty obvious one. Six Flags isn't really known well at all for their operations. You can find much better operations at Universal and Busch Gardens parks and Cedar Fair parks, obviously. So 2 points will be going to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Winning by 6 points is Six Flags Over Texas. Both parks are fantastic, but Six Flags Over Texas dominates in the coaster department. Quantity and quality. It has some pretty fantastic coasters there. In the hyper department, maybe not, but especially with New Texas Giant there, it has some pretty stellar coasters. So, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, keep coasting.